Hi, my name is Brooke Littman.
And I'm Dr. Deb Littman.
And this is Wine Together,
a podcast where we drink some wine and have a chat.
So sit back, relax, and get that corkscrew ready.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you guys and to you, Brookie. Happy New Year.
I'm excited. This episode, we're going to be talking about our New Year's resolutions.
And we want to share something that I'm a numbers person. So when Brooke told me that this is our 25th episode that we are recording on around the first of the year 2025, and then she pointed out, well, you know, our 24th episode was the last episode of 2024. I thought, how poignant and how nice. I mean, this really, to me, it gives me a sense of this is the right thing for us to be doing right now. This is what's meant to be for you and me right now. You know, we're just kind of sharing things that, you know, are important to us and hoping that, you know, we at least bring some light into everybody else's day as you listen to this or watch this, however you do it. So I thought that was really neat. Thanks for pointing that out. And so we're talking about New Year's. And what do you think of when people start talking about New Year's?
I don't know. It's because this is the first New Year that I'm not in school. So it's weird because, like, normally I'm thinking about getting ready to go back to classes. And so, I don't know. It's weird.
I always think of New Year's resolutions. Always. I'm 58 years old, and so for many years, that's kind of been, you know, people, at least me. I'm not going to say everyone in my generation because I can't speak for everyone in my generation, but I can speak for me. And how I grew up and the family I grew up with, there was always talk of losing weight in the new year. Every single year. I grew up in the southern United States. It's just, you know, it is what I always heard my mother say. Oh, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get to this certain size and this, that, and the other. And so, of course, you know, that has always been a New Year's resolution for me. Get in shape. Do this, do this. And so a few years ago, your father and I made we didn't call it a resolution. We just called it a pact. We had started hiking when we moved here in 2019. I had always been a lover of hiking. I've always loved to hike, but it was not something we ever did together. It was only when we moved here that we kind of really got serious about hiking together because he stays in shape by riding his bike. He rides his bike to work and rides his bike. He has an indoor bike trainer that he can set up and ride indoors in the bad weather. And so, you know, bicycling is kind of his way of exercise. That's his love. I've always loved just being outdoors and walking and hiking. So a few years ago, we said, okay, we're going to hike 1,000 kilometers this year. And we did it. In fact, we hit kilometer 1,000 on the last day of the year, of that year. And it was, we hit it right here close to home at the top of Blankenberg. So we thought that was kind of fitting as just like the numbers. Today, I felt like we're kind of poignant and fitting. So this year, it is, my resolution is kind of centered around hiking. I want to be sure that I ascend at least 1,000 meters this year.
Okay.
So that is like 3,000 feet.
Could just go Weissenstein, like, what, 3 times?
Well, I thought about that. Maybe I need to make that number larger, but I wanted to start with something I knew I could reach that goal. Yep. So if I reach that goal in the first month, then I will change it to 10,000.
Or 12,000, because then it's 1 for every month. 1,000 every month.
Yeah, that's true. I could change it. That's a good idea. Because walking up, like I hit Blankenberg. I technically, the height, when I do the Blankenberg, I do 3 times, and so it's technically going up about 250 meters. Meters, is that right? Yeah, I count them in meters here. So it's around 250 meters. And so that, I could do that just, a few times, and I'd probably get that 1,000 meters. But I have to, set it at something I feel is attainable. Kind of like those SMART goals that you set. Is this attainable? And then see where we go. But like your dad said, well, if you get it, then change it.
Yep.
But the goal is to always increase, not decrease for me. So, thinking about that, do you have a goal for 2025? Tell me.
So, I can now run a 5K, right?
Woo, congratulations.
It only took me 3 months to get there, right?
Very good.
And so I want to at least be able to run a 10K, but my goal is the half marathon by next December, and then work on the marathon for the next year.
Wow.
But
those are big dreams, big goals, and I know you can do it.
I know I can do 10K, because it took a while to do the 5K, but that's because I had a lot of other stuff going on, like with class, and then like trying to figure out time because I was getting up so early in the morning, and so
going to bed earlier also. Yeah, training is hard to figure out, and and then I think a lot of times people say, "Oh, you're just making excuses." No, it's reality. The days get shorter.
Yeah.
As we approach December 21st, the days get shorter. It gets colder. And not everybody has a treadmill in their house.
Yeah.
Our apartment's definitely not.
Well, and that's also different, because running on a treadmill is easy. I've done 10 kilometers on a treadmill before, and that's like nothing. But doing it, to me, because it's a different kind of cardio, but when you're actually outside, it's different because there's other factors.
Absolutely. There are other factors, and, I was just talking about this. I, for some reason, cannot hike without tripping over a root or a rock. It's almost like, I promise it's not intentional, but I've gotten to where my first trip, and where I almost fall down, I was like, oh, I'm officially hiking. It's an official hike today. I fell. But I tend to trip. I'm clumsy, and things like that, which is funny. But I think a lot of people just have so many different thoughts about the new year. I think everybody kind of approaches the new year with new promise, new hope. What did you think about our friends last night? Just in the conversation, did you kind of sense that they had a plan for the new year?
I honestly zoned out most of what was happening yesterday.
Well, you had a 3-year-old that was wanting your attention. Yeah. He did want your attention.
I know.
He really did want to play. But they did. They have new hope. They're going to have a baby.
Another
so
baby.
That's exciting. Another baby coming in July. So I think that, and then so I heard our friends say that, we want to expand the house. There's reason for adding a new addition. And so, I know that they have those kind of plans. So, and those are big plans for a young couple to add on to the house, and they have the space to do that, and their house definitely is made in a way that it kind of welcomes an addition. So I think that's exciting for them. It's very exciting for them.
I know. I'm also hoping that I can find something so that I can move out and get my own place.
And that's very exciting.
Yeah.
We would, as much as I'm not gonna, I'm that mother. I am that mother. It's hard to see my kids go, but I absolutely do not want them to feel like they have to stay here and take care of me. So I want you out on your own, and at least while I'm still somewhat healthy enough to take care of myself.
Well, I mean,
go now.
I probably wouldn't go too far because Darrington is not super expensive.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, wouldn't it be great if you just got one of the 1-bedrooms downstairs?
Well, no, not in this. I don't want to be in the same building as you. Okay. No offense, but I don't want to be in the same building as you.
I can understand that.
But like down the street, so I could like come over, and I wouldn't have to get like a TV or anything, and I could just come over here and watch football or like whatever.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of small spaces, small flats.
There's some new ones too up there.
The new ones I think would be kind of expensive, but there are one room.
Yeah, 1.5 bedrooms is the smallest I saw.
Yeah. So, okay.
I'd have an office.
Yeah, a home office would be nice. I do like my space kind of here. And I know I constantly say, oh, well, you can use the office. And I mean, honestly, I say it. I don't mean it.
No.
I don't really mean that y'all can come in here and use my home office. But I say it, and I'm never going to tell you no.
I mean, I have my own little office space under my bed. Like, because I have a loft bed, I have my own little office space. So I have, like, everything I need right there. So. That's why I can't really sit in the this chair to relax because it's my office space.
Yeah. So,
but to be fair, like, sometimes I'll be doing my editing out in the living room, so I'll like have my computer on the couch. So I mean, yeah,
that makes sense. I think that's something you're going to teach me in the New Year's about how the behind the scenes stuff like this works, because I absolutely when we bring up the digital natives, digital immigrants, I'm the immigrant, and so that is all absolutely brand new to me.
We're gonna try and start recording more like behind the scenes. So I think more content. We're gonna try really hard now that we both have a little bit more time to focus on it. Even
we can put some time.
If it's gonna be pretty busy. So.
Yeah. So that's what we'd like to do. Some things we talked about is maybe filming outside of this space. Kind of making the space also more attractive to visual, the visual people who pay attention to the podcast. We'd like to make this space more visually appealing. So there's that. But yeah, so much. I mean, I think a lot of people, come into New Year's with new hope, new promise.
Yeah.
And so we want to have guest speakers, and it's funny because the people I know, a lot of are from the same kind of background and field that I am in, and so that I think is important. But we'd also like to expand beyond kind of my area of expertise. Yeah, because I feel like everything I say has to do with what I know, which it should be. I shouldn't try to say things about, fields that I don't have a lot of knowledge about. In fact, Brooke is so good at fact checking on the fly that we're going to make sure we highlight that.
Yeah, we're going to be better at making sure that we're not completely wrong.
Right, we don't want to be wrong. We don't want to say things that aren't true.
Yeah. I'll see that like when I edit, I'll be like, oh yeah, that actually probably wasn't right. And like, but it's okay. So,
and
we're trying our best. We're human. We're not.
Absolutely, we are human, and we're learning. We're all still learning. That was something my professor said to me, my dissertation chairperson. She said it to me. It was funny because it had nothing to do with my dissertation, but it had to do with the fact that I couldn't make a meeting that she had scheduled because I had a German class. So we did a quick meeting, right before my German class. And she said, "Are you excited about your class tonight?" And I said, "No." I mean, I was always terrified going into that class. And I had a phenomenal teacher. And I had great classmates that I worked with, people I actually got along with. And I was terrified every time. And she said, "No, she said, embrace this. We're all still learning." And I actually said it to the people in my class that night. I said, my professor just told me we're all still learning. So I had to come in here with a better attitude about learning to speak German because we're all still learning. And the girl that I had to say it to that night, we were in a breakout room, just the two of us practicing. And she started to cry. She said, "I needed to hear that." And I thought, wow, well, I needed to hear it when I heard it earlier in the day. And so now that's kind of part of my signature is her quote with, I definitely give her, um, I, I quoted her. I quoted my professor as saying that. And, always, I mean, she and I are going to always be connected. And that's part of my signature on my email because we're all still learning. And so, I know you don't necessarily want this to be a podcast where people have to learn something.
That's not necessarily true.
But I think that our guests that we have, planned on line up, we're all going to learn something from them.
Yeah. I don't even know who all we have lined up. So,
yeah.
But hopefully we'll even sometime get people from other podcasts maybe.
Absolutely. I'd love to have other podcasters on. We definitely need to reach out and, and look, some of our listeners, I mean, if you're close by and if we're out, because we want to film some outside of this apartment, if we're out and about, we would love to, get you on a schedule. So, because I think everyone in the world has something to offer as far as knowledge and teaching others. Everyone has something to offer. I've really seen some wonderful learned some wonderful lessons just by watching people here in Switzerland. And by being a part of, that group, the class. And you were part of a completely different class of people learning German. And so I know there are lots of people here that have knowledge to offer the rest of the world. So I definitely think that that's important, that we all keep that in mind. We're all still learning. I definitely am.
Yeah.
What are some things you want to learn?
Well, I want to go back to school for either a master's or a doctorate. And it's been kind of back and forth. Like, I wanted to do choreography, and I still want to choreograph, but I don't think that's what I want to do for a master's degree anymore. I'm thinking more of sports medicine.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But I haven't looked into it because I don't know if I'd have to go to med school or if there's degrees in sports medicine that are outside of that realm, that are more academic. So, specifically, I want to look into injury prevention.
Oh, I think that's great.
I have been very lucky to not have major injuries.
Okay.
But, I hear a lot about, people getting crazy injuries and it.
Yeah, injuries that actually halt their career. Yeah. In what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Athletes, we think of athletes and that, and
you had that.
Absolutely, I have had. Yeah, and so and it's amazing as I get older how much those injuries hurt.
Exactly.
I have certain parts of my body that are perpetually swollen. Perpetually swollen, and then at certain times of the year that swelling hurts. It hurts so much, which is why I try to stay active with the hill climbing. That's why climbing hills this year is very important to me, because having been back in the United States, I was there almost 5 months, and I was in a very flat part of the U.S. And honestly, I never felt safe exercising alone there. So I did not hit trails. I did not hit hills. And instead I spent my time kind of reconnecting with certain family members. And that was vital to me. I have no regrets about that. I'm glad that I spent my time that way. But I also missed hills, believe it or not. I missed climbing hills, and I know that sounds crazy as a 58-year-old woman who's had 5 kids. that is a bizarre thing to come out of my mouth, but I miss the hills. And so I want to get back to hills.
Yeah. Well, I also know, I was having an issue before that I had to figure out all on my own about when I started running, as I was having a knee issue, which is, it's the same knee issue I've had in the past. But it was different this time because, I had to figure out all on my own. I couldn't, go to someone and say, hey, I don't know what's going on. And so I did figure out what I needed to do to fix that. And so now I've been able to go on runs without it hurting at all.
And so, speaking of that, you were saying, you always had a trainer you could go to. and the programs that you've been in, as far as your university time, your time at different studios, you always had a trainer to go to for these injuries. But this time you didn't. So what did you do to figure it out? Did you remember some of the stuff they said?
Well, yeah, that, like, I knew what the problem was. It was most likely with my patella because it was the same way it had been hurting a couple years ago when I was told that my patella was out of place and we had to put it back in. Which is not like an injury that'll stop you from like dancing or moving or anything, because it just like shifted a little out of place. It wasn't like backwards. But yeah, I remembered some stuff, and then I like tried other stuff, and I was like, oh, what's working, what's not working.
I remember reading something a couple years ago when my knee was really giving me a fit a few years ago, and I thought, oh my goodness, I had somehow gotten through a few years, and then around 55, I just could not. It was hurting to do the hiking. It was hurting to do everything. And I read something that said most people stop
when it hurts.
They stop when it hurts. And for a particular problem with your knee, you actually need to work it.
Yeah, you need to
when it hurts. And so that's when the squats and the wall sits, all of that came into play. And then I was able to do the jumping jacks. Once I got that strength back through the squats and the wall sits, once I got that strength back, oh my goodness, I could do my jumping jacks again.
Yep.
And I could do my heels again. And so that was beautiful to me. And so I remember saying this to your brother who does have, just lots of pain in his knee. I said, well, the one thing, believe it or not, everybody quits when it hurts. But
you can't.
that was the thing, is that you don't quit when it hurts. You find a way to strengthen.
You find something else to do to strengthen it so that it doesn't hurt.
Absolutely.
Even if it's working a different part of your body, because it's all connected.
Yeah, and we are absolutely not advocating that you don't see a doctor. I mean, this is a personal. That pain is always personal, and we want everybody to know that pain is personal. You have to decide for yourself, just like you did. Yeah. Every single individual has to decide for this. Is it time to see a doctor?
Yeah, and it's especially, it's different in certain places. Like in the U.S., most people can't because it's too expensive.
Absolutely.
So it's also important to just remember to, like, do research on your own, too.
Yeah, and be sure you're using reputable resources. I think using reputable resources, knowing that things are have been researched and it's fact-based. I mean, we're living in a time where we need to get back to truth and fact-based science. So please advocate for yourself. If you need to see a doctor, see a doctor. If you have a friend, if you go into this injury prevention like you want to do, there are going to be people out there that will now have a friend to help them with that, because I think prevention is always better than going through the pain of surgery or years. I mean, because that really does put you off pace. It puts you off pace. I remember my first knee surgery, and I was out for a long time, and then I've never recovered.
And your wrist too. I mean,
yeah,
that
my
wasn't
wrist is
but
horrendous.
That's not something you could have prevented.
Well, but I think that there was already. I think there was always some underlying something, because surely that wouldn't have happened that easily. No, I was first baseman, and this is my catching hand. So this constant, people throwing the ball really hard, that constant movement in that direction probably weakened, ligaments and tendons. But I didn't know it at the time. I just thought I was strong and great.
Yeah, I know.
I thought I was all that.
I wonder if lifting weights would have helped you.
Yeah, I think that a strengthening like this, a grip strength type thing would help. Yeah. I do think grip strength exercises in that hand would help.
I know. I think
I have some great things that, I could use. It's too bad I can't reach for it right now.
I was having some issues before, like when I write for a long time, I was like 90% convinced I was getting carpal tunnel syndrome in college, because like I couldn't write for more than like a minute without hurting. like cramping on my hands.
Okay, well, I had students that said the exact same thing because they did not like to write. And
Well,
so I was constantly like, well, that's why you need to write more.
Yeah. But
you need to strengthen that.
See, the problem was because I used to write a lot and it wasn't a problem until university. But I also remember Jana talking about how she has that circulation issue with her hands. And I feel like I've been having a lot of the same issues, so...
Genetics plays a huge part in our health.
We've got knee issues on both sides of my family, so that's wonderful for me.
Huge part of our health is our biological genetics. And the reason I say the word biological because, I truly believe that even though it's not necessarily in the field of genetics, I think that we kind of have some environmental genetics, things we learn as we're growing up. From the people that raise us and care for us, we kind of learn these habits. We learn eating habits. We learn exercise habits or lack thereof from our environment. And so I do believe that I like my term environmental genetics. But I don't ever hear anybody say. In fact, I've even been reprimanded for saying that term. That's not the same thing as genetics. Well, you know what? Genetics is kind of from what we inherit, and we kind of inherit habits. So to me, environmental genetics makes perfect sense. But it's okay.
Yeah.
Again, my opinion.
That would be
and I promise you this.
That would be more of a social sciences thing, I think.
Absolutely.
Like social genetics, I feel like that's something that people don't really talk about because that's
Absolutely,
even if it's not like genetics, but because the meaning of genetics is like the backbone.
Yeah,
of
the
how
genes. It's from the genes,
created,
right? But
so why can't it be used in a social sense either?
I think because his science, from our science friends, it terminology matters.
Yeah, but social
and so
science
genetics
is
about
science.
the genes that we kind of have within ourselves, and I get that. But again, going outside that box, what we get from our environment is in the same manner. And so socially, absolutely, I think that there's could be a good argument for using that term social genetics, environmental genetics. I think that we absolutely need to expand that term of genetics because we don't people aren't just one thing. My being is much more than what's in my cells and how they differentiated to do the jobs that they do. Absolutely. Because my inability to not react is something that came from my environment and social upbringing. So that's something I'm having to learn is to react properly. But I agree. That's something. I'm kind of excited about your plans for the new year. I hope that you kind of hit the ground running here in January.
I know.
Get it going early. Don't stop because, I think anyone can do anything they want to do at any age. However, I wouldn't recommend putting off your education like I did. Just because, but that's just me saying that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my opinion. I would not recommend it to anybody. I would encourage people to just do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's more about finding the way to pay for it.
I agree. It is. It absolutely is. And that is such a shame. Such a shame that we can't follow our passion because of being indebted. Just completely in debt, which I am. So, I mean, just what a shame that people can't follow their passion.
Yep.
And to me, I mean, I think it's so much more than the credential because I had a friend that was telling me, "Oh, but you have a doctorate. You know what?
It's not.
That don't mean jack crap."
No.
If I'm not in a circle of people willing to help me, get that job. This past job that I did, I mean, I created a school, a whole school from nothing. And and that, that's just on paper. It's not necessarily within a group of people that, can help me move on from that.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I still would recommend that you get your education early,
mm-hmm.
so that you have opportunities,
mm-hmm.
To kind of grow in your field. Because we all have something important to teach the world.
Mm-hmm.
We absolutely do. And we do it in different, forms.
Mm-hmm.
Some people write books, podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Some people write scripts or plays and movies. And a lot of times, these artists choose their media because they want to teach somebody else something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, we do kind of all have it in us to offer our wisdom and our expertise. Mm-hmm. And it's not just old people like me. You definitely
mm-hmm.
have something to teach me. I mean, lots of people have things to teach me because I have a very small block of expertise. It's definitely not expanded, and I definitely have room to grow. I think everybody has room to grow. I think most people want to grow.
Yep.
I don't think people want to be kind of stuck in a box. I mean, I think some people are very comfortable in their box.
Yeah.
And I think there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't think you need to force anybody to do anything they don't want to do. But I think you also, when somebody says something, validate it. Validate their feelings. Validate, their dreams. Because they're coming to you for that.
Yeah.
I don't think people tell you something unless they want it to be validated.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I do tend to tell people stuff, and I often don't feel validated in that. I don't hear the words, "Oh, I agree with you," or "Oh, wow, that's interesting." I don't hear those things when I say stuff to people. And I think, I mean, I don't care that you don't feel the same, but I care that, you think that it's important that I feel that way. I think we need to do that for others.
Yeah.
So how would you do that?
I don't know.
So you're saying that you agree with it.
Yeah.
With it, but you didn't say the words, I agree.
Yeah, but I agree. You also have to remember that not everyone's going to respond the way that you want them to in your head, that the way they respond is the way they respond.
Absolutely.
And it may mean the same thing in their head, but not in your head.
Yep, but how about if they came to you and said, "Oh, I don't feel like you heard what I said."
Then...
And would they need to say to you, "I need to hear the words, I agree with you"?
Yeah.
That's
You have to
fair.
say the words, because not everyone's going to pick up on it.
Okay. But not everybody receives those words well.
No, that's true, but you can't control that.
That's right, I can't control how people react. No. But, okay, well, we've got good champagne today.
Yes, it is really good. It does taste like pears.
It tastes like pears. No, I love it.
I don't like pears that
I
much.
love pears. I like almost any fruit. And that's kind of my breakfast normally is fruit. I'm not going to say that I eat fruit every day. I don't want y'all to think I'm on some kind of, you need to, but I do try my best to get my
fruit every day.
I know, but I feel like that's the easiest time for me to get my fruit in is breakfast.
Well, I have a different way of getting fruit. I drink juice that is 100% fruit and no added sugars.
You know what? This morning I thought about, because my blackberries were getting soft, and then unfortunately a few of them were bad, and they were moldy. So
we just bought them.
I know. So I was thinking, ooh, in the winter when the fruit, I'm already picking it up as an aged fruit. I'm picking it up from the store aged. Maybe this winter I need to make more smoothies and get my fruit that way.
Yeah. Means you have to clean that blender.
Egg face. I know. That's probably what stops him from it. But I thought I have the hand pump blender.
Yeah, but that is also not easy to clean.
It's not easy to clean, but it's easier to clean.
See, okay.
And it's easier for me to deal with to just pour it from the small one.
But you also need to get used to having to clean, because you can't just have appliances that you're never going to use because you don't want to clean them.
My goodness.
You have two appliances that you don't use because you don't want to clean them.
Which ones?
The not air fryer, the deep fryer and the blender.
Yep, you're right.
You never use them because you don't want to clean them.
At one time I was using once a week. I was using the deep fryer because we were like, I was getting my French fries every week, which I love French fries. So you see me out and want to buy me some French fries, I will accept. Always. Pommes. We'd say pommes here, so buy me pommes. And you're right. I haven't cleaned it, and so I'm refusing to use it. But it's also got to where it's not connecting well.
Yes, because
so it's annoying.
Have not used
it's not because I haven't used it. I felt like I overused it. Yeah. So the connections aren't well.
I had a perfect compromise. We get rid of the deep fryer, get an air fryer. But air fryer can cook
It would be less money because we're not buying the oil.
Mm-hmm.
It's much easier cleanup.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just as good?
Yes.
Are my French fries just as good?
You can cook anything in the air fryer, not just fries. You can make chicken in it. It would be easier in the summer to cook things because it wouldn't get as hot in the kitchen.
It takes hours for that thing to cool down for me to put it away. Hours.
I don't think so.
The
deep fryer.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought we were
It takes hours for that oil to cool down enough for me to put it back in its spot.
I think an air fryer would be a great compromise.
And I think that is a great compromise. Yeah, I think that is. I just don't want a certain person to think that I no longer appreciate that gift.
I don't think so. We've had it for about 5 years now.
Yeah, we've had it about 5 years.
And they didn't have air fryers. Well, they might have had them back then, but they weren't as common. Right. And they were more expensive. But the deep fryer, you said it doesn't connect well anymore, so it doesn't really work.
It really doesn't. I have to hold it. And it gets hot to have to hold the connection together. Yeah. That's kind of annoying. So. Yeah. Something to consider for the new year. The thing
you have to do is get rid of the deep fryer first before you can get the...
Absolutely, because, we need a place to store the other one. Yeah, fair enough. Yep, thoughts to ponder for the new year. It definitely would be a healthier option.
Yeah.
I'm getting older. Mm-hmm. I am on medication. That's probably another reason I'm not using that deep fryer. Yeah. It's because of the medication that I'm on.
It's easier to make mozzarella sticks than on the stove. So.
Yeah, okay.
I
like mine baked.
I don't like them baked. I don't think they get as crispy.
Maybe not, but I still.
It's weird
I think
to me that you like them baked because you like them crispy.
I don't like things. I do like things crispy that are supposed to be crispy. But to me, the cheese doesn't feel right when it's cooked on the skillet.
That's interesting. I think it's perfect when you make it in the skillet. You could start using the lid.
Okay.
And then you wouldn't have to flip them.
Yeah. I don't know. I just again, a cheese feels different when it's done. I need to finish this so we can have another glass of champagne because we want another glass of champagne with you guys. So, okay, other than, taking care of ourselves, we have one certain person in the family that would tell us that for the new year we need to drink less.
Yeah, I'm sure.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, I like to think I don't drink that much. But I don't know. I definitely drink more at home than I do anywhere else. Like if at school, I think that's good. I drank less when I was at school, but I also had classes and stuff. So.
I was going to say, your lifestyle was different. You had different things. That was so funny because when we went to, so thinking way back to COVID, beginnings of COVID, I was in German classes. Mm-hmm. And so I was going 3 times a week into the city in the evenings, right around dinner time for class. Mm-hmm. So I had to eat like a really small dinner and then, no glass of wine with dinner. And because we were, face to face And, you know, it's just, you know, I knew I needed to kind of really be focused. But as soon as those classes went online and it was still at dinner time, well, you know, I'd have a glass of wine at the beginning of the class and a glass of scotch by the end of the class. And my teacher and my peers knew that. In fact, it was kind of their thing to say, "Oh, Deb, what you drinking?" You know, that was... And especially the one from Scotland. He was like, "Oh, do I know that one? Do I know that Scotch?" "Oh, yeah, I know that one. Yeah, that's a pretty good one." So it kind of, I don't think that they didn't say the things to me the way our family says it to me. Our family is like, you drink one glass of wine and you're an alcoholic.
Yeah, some of them think that.
We got two that just, yet they do. I mean, you know.
They drink, they smoke.
Yeah. But, so I just find it interesting because I heard somebody on a podcast talking to you about, "Oh, you're becoming an alcoholic too?" And I thought, what does that mean too? Who else in the family is an alcoholic? What is she doing?
No. We were talking about someone who is an alcoholic from a TV show.
Okay. All right. Oh, so I missed that part because I really, you know, just immediately went to it's the reference of the family. So because we have had members of our family that are alcoholics.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the reason I see, you know, our, you know, what we drink at dinner or what we drink, you know, when we're watching TV is nothing like what these people did. I mean, nothing. So to me, it's just like, I'm nowhere near. I think that to throw that term around to somebody who's not is disrespectful.
Yeah.
You know, so it you know, I get defensive about it, I guess. But my fear is, am I getting defensive about it? Does that mean I am?
No,
you know,
always.
I just feel like, you know, but I just feel like people need to be kind of respectful and, you know, realize that we live a different life. I mean, we don't live where we used to live. So.
I mean, that's also part of it in the U.S. Because alcohol is so, like, they're so strict about it. Yeah. It's, you know, yeah.
Which we can, you know, kind of chuckle about it, you know. I think that, I don't know. I think it's funny. I think, you know, I think it's been thrown in my face many, many times, that word. You know, from my own children. So it's just like, okay, wow. I mean, I just didn't think that I drank that much in front of y'all when y'all were kids. I was really careful. So. I was really careful not to drink in front of y'all.
Yeah.
So that's the reason I find it weird.
Yeah.
Because I never drank in front of y'all. I'd wait till y'all go to bed and Dad and I would have a little glass of something.
Yeah.
And I never snuck alcohol.
But maybe that's
snuck
why they think it's like so weird, because now they see you drinking more, but it's because they're adults and you're like, oh.
Absolutely,
well, like,
that's why I don't feel too scared to drink it because y'all are of legal age and so and I like to have a glass of wine with you.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it. Maybe I need to quit overthinking this.
I don't know.
You think I should overthink it?
No. I don't think you should overthink anything, because that's when you get really upset. Then you overthink everything. And
I do, don't I?
Yes, you do.
And it's so funny because I start on something and I think, oh, well, I can fix it for next time. So I'm gonna do it different next time. And I really don't know how to change that.
I don't know. Sometimes you need to shut your brain off.
I can't. I've tried.
Maybe you need to watch really dumb TV shows. It helps you. It really helps you shut your brain off for a little bit.
I don't even know what that is.
Like if you watch like The Office, you can shut your brain off so that you don't think.
People. I don't want to offend anybody in a show.
No. My point is something
so don't
like
use the
that.
Word D. Don't use the D word. Some kind of show that I don't have to think too much.
Yeah, because that's a show that people want to think too much about because of all the characters and like how it's something that you need to like put on just to have as a background.
That's the word my friend was looking for last night. Dynamic.
Yeah.
I said diverse, but
dynamic.
But it was dynamic that he was thinking of. Oh, I need to text him right quick.
But like a show like
you're
that.
thinking dynamic. Personalities.
But I mean, a show like that is like you don't want to think too much about because it's just a fun show. You know?
Yeah.
Something
And I used to enjoy
off.
fun TV.
Yeah, but now you overthink everything.
What is that about?
I don't know.
Why is that?
I don't know.
I need to quit wanting to fix things.
Yeah.
I can't fix the world.
No.
You know. And I can't even fix, the characters in my own family.
Mm-hmm.
And especially, it's really hard to have adult children.
Mm-hmm.
Can we have that conversation?
No.
How hard it is to have adult children? Because I don't have any say.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you come to me and say, I actually need your advice. Unless y'all say those words, I need your advice on this. I really don't have any say in it.
Mm-hmm.
I just gotta listen.
Yeah, but you
and accept.
Say things anyway, so.
But you told me from now on, unless I ask for it, I don't want you to say anything. And I've gotten a little bit better about that. You're not gonna say you agree with me on that. In my head, I've gotten a little bit better. But why?
What do you mean?
Why am I that way? Why is that my personality?
I don't know.
But don't I need to know why in order to change the dynamic of it? Am I overthinking this again?
Yes.
Again?
A little bit, but I think it's more you like to have control of things.
Maybe. But is that because I'm so selfish and narcissistic that things just have to go my way?
No.
Is that why I want control?
Not always.
That's good to know. Good to know. I'm not that way. Good to know that is not the reason.
You can scratch my back for me. It's pretty itchy.
Poor thing.
No, it's don't. There we go.
That's what you gotta tell me the spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Which quadrants?
Wait, a little higher up there. There you go.
In between quadrants 1 and 3, bitches.
And now it's itchy on the other side. So.
It always does,
no,
right?
The other side.
Once you get a good scratch going, you just gotta get every spot. I know. I know. Sorry.
I need like one of those back scratchers.
Your dad will say, "Oh no, just right there. Oh no."
I know,
And then
it's
just the whole thing. Oh, we just go ahead and get the whole thing. Yeah. And I feel the same way when he'll start scratching my back. I'm like, I'll start moving my body to get the hand in the right place.
It's like it moves over. Like when you have a spider and you're trying to get it and like catch it and then it like crawls away. It's like that.
Yeah, the itch moves like the spider. Oh, that's a good storyline. Okay. That itch that just moves like the tiny spider. Something you just cannot control. Yeah. And you're trying so hard to get somebody to help you with it. And it just feels like they can't read your mind.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So any good writers out there, you can use that. I'll tell you the things you can't use. No, I'm going to use that one. So, I'll be sure to, point out what I think is fair use and what is not. I think that we're going to have a good year.
Yeah.
I think that it was so meant to be to have episode 25 for the beginning in the first episode of the year 2025. And I know it's impossible for you to understand just the fact that we're in the year 2025.
That's wild.
It is wild to me, especially because, especially, I don't know. There's so many things I want to kind of reference to that, but it's things that I promised myself I wouldn't bring up on this podcast, so I won't. But I just think I remember the year 2000. I remember going from 1999 to 2000. I remember exactly where your dad and I spent that New Year's Eve.
Y2K.
Absolutely.
When the world was supposed to end.
I remember the fear, the craziness behind that, and the laughing that your dad and I did about, behind people's backs about that.
I hear about that, and I'm like, wasn't it people were just worried about computers not working?
Yeah, they were worried that people had not, that the they hadn't. Well, at least this is what I remember, and I may be wrong. And you know what? Y'all are welcome to teach me because I'm always willing to learn. But what I remember the talk being in our particular small circle was that because they had only thought about the numbers 1999, they'd only thought about that once we get to 99, had they considered that we needed to change that very first number.
Yeah.
And so they didn't think that every system would convert over to from 1 to 2.
And so people just overblew it into the world ending because it's like that just seems like a technical issue. Computers were new.
Absolutely. It was, well, they weren't really new. But anyway.
Like 10 years old, right? Like,
well, home computer. People having computers in their homes. Yeah, as far as like everybody having a computer. That was new. Mm-hmm. And so that was kind of, they thought maybe a whole system shut down. And then you think about a system shut down and you think about people who are working in the industry where they had rooms full of a computer system, like a local area network or something like that. They thought, thinking of that whole thing shutting down and causing the whole, everything in a company to shut down. I think that was kind of a fear, or at least that's how it was explained to me at the time. And again, my circle was not wide at that time. It's not that it's hugely wide now, but so that's what I heard about it. And so I don't know if that's what, but you know what? Being my age, I've heard, especially coming from the background that I come from and the circle of people that raised me, I have heard that the world was going to end many, many times. In fact, I remember a book, Why the World was going to End in 1988. And all the historical stuff that they put into that book.
It looks like you're reading a script.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm just playing with my fingers because I'm trying to not go into a conversation that one, I don't want a lot of arguments from, and two, I don't want to offend anyone. I would never want to offend anybody. So many times I've heard the world was going to end. And so, of course, 1999 to 2000, we thought, oh my goodness, is the television going to just shut down? And then, so, your dad and I stayed in. But we stayed in someone else's house without them. In fact, they all went out. We stayed in that night. It was at your grandparents' house in Arlington. And so everybody went out, for the fireworks and stuff like that, and we stayed there. And we drank a lot. In fact, I think that's the first time he saw me drink tequila. I don't think he knew how tequila affected me until that night. And then it was like, he started buying me lots of bottles of tequila. So it was funny. We had really deep conversations that night. We shared things with each other we had never shared before. Secrets that we things we would have considered our own personal secrets. But at the time, thinking the world's going to end, thinking this might be your last night on earth, we shared things with each other that we wouldn't have normally done. And we were in about our 5th year of marriage, so we felt kind of secure in trusting each other a little bit. But we shared secrets that night, and I thought that was pretty dynamic. And of course I drank tequila. Which, look guys, okay, there might be a time when Brooke lets me drink tequila on the show.
I have to get more used to tequila because I didn't like it the first couple times, but I was the same way with scotch until I got used to it. So,
well, okay, we're just going to share with you. I got a bottle of Macallan for Christmas, nice. And I have taught this one the beauty of a good scotch.
That's good.
And honestly, I mean, I like a little bit of peaty sometimes, but my evening scotch needs to be Macallan. I'm telling you. So Macallan, if you want to send me a bottle, I do love my Macallan in the evening, and I don't have to have more than one glass. Now there are some nights I need more than one finger. Okay, I gotta go up the wall of that glass.
Well, you can tell how much it is. I do it by the ice cube. 2 fingers is almost the top of the ice cube. Yeah,
and we use the little stones. We use the Irish whiskey stones. We don't necessarily use ice cubes.
Yeah. 3 fingers is above the stone.
Yeah, which we rarely do.
Yeah.
That's a celebratory night.
I think it was fitting that we finished the your birthday scotch right before
the Oban. But that was the Oban, right? Which was really good. I like the Oban.
We finished it on the 24th.
We finished that on the 24th?
Yes, we did.
Fantastic. So we finished the Oban. No, Taskers was before that, right?
I don't know.
But the Oban was good. I liked it. It had a little bit of smoke to it. And so I liked that one.
I did drink a lot of it without you. Not a lot, but like some of it.
So in other words, I should not go away anymore.
Well,
no,
you weren't
I don't
gonna
mind.
drink it.
No, I was
not.
not.
And then we wouldn't have been able to open up a Macallan.
Right, we wouldn't have finished it by the last night of 2024, which was so nice. I mean, we've had a really good life. You know, it's been really great, and so I think going into a new year with new hope, I'm all for it.
Maybe I'll get whiskey for my birthday this year.
Ooh, maybe. You'll get one bottle one night, and I'll get one bottle the next.
I'll have my own bottle.
I think. I think there's just look, we had to grow into, as far as our marriage and our finances. We had to grow into getting a Macallan. In fact, I like a good Glenlivet too, which is, I guess you'd call that medium in the price range.
I like Irish whiskey because a lot of the time it's fairly cheap.
I sort of say Irish whiskey. Nice. If it actually says Irish whiskey, it's not expensive.
That's good for shots. Irish whiskey is good for shots.
I think Irish whiskey is good for Irish coffee.
Yes.
And I love Irish coffee.
And hot toddies. You don't want to put scotch in a hot toddy or in any other drink.
No.
So you use Irish whiskey for that, and you can also do shots with Irish whiskey.
Yeah, it's so funny. But I think that I should call myself blessed to have been able to kind of explore the places I've explored. I know a lot of people haven't gotten to live this life. I know a lot of people have lived a much better life than me.
Well, yeah.
But I can't imagine most people in my circle living this life. And I know they don't appreciate it the way I appreciate it. I know a lot of people in my circle would just say, why? Just stay home. But I don't learn as much. I think I learn more and appreciate people more as I'm out and about and I'm being around the people. I don't necessarily have to talk to everybody. I think a lot of people like that dynamic where they get to talk to lots of other people. That's not necessarily me. I don't think I would mind it, but I'd much rather listen than talk. And probably that's probably my lack of self-confidence. Because what have I got to offer anybody?
That's not true. You just said, what did you just say earlier?
Remind me.
You said that everyone has something to teach someone.
Right. You're right. I'm sorry. You're right. See how I need you to kind of remind me of that stuff. And but I did believe that. I mean, I do believe that everybody has something to teach everybody. But I don't believe I have anything. It's just only everybody else. You do. Our people out there do. I don't think I do. I don't think anybody wants to know what I got.
That's not true.
But and again, that's my lack of self-confidence. So. But anyway, I think this has been great. It's a great conversation. I'd love for us to continue, more like this. I think we will. So we really hope you enjoyed the conversation.
We'll be back next week with a new bottle of wine and a new topic. If you want to join the conversation, follow us on Instagram and TikTok @WineTogetherPod. And if you don't want to miss out on our regular weekly episodes along with all of our bonus content, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, as well as subscribing, liking, and commenting on our YouTube Wine Together Podcast.